Hello, my lovely, wonderful children. Welcome to our next lesson in math. Today we are adding, that's gone away. What? Adding and subtracting decimals. Today we are adding and subtracting decimals. So let's jump right into it. Before we get going, I want to talk about the steps we need to take to add and subtract decimals. There are a few things we need to follow. First and foremost, whenever we are adding and subtracting decimals, we need to do it as stacked math, which means we're going to stack our numbers right on top of each other. And the reason we do that is because when we stack our numbers, we have to line up decimal points. So it's not just stack your numbers, but you have to line up your decimal points as well. So we stack our numbers, we line up our decimal points, and then we can do our math. But occasionally we might need to fall into rule 3, which is fill in place values with 0. All right, so that's the final thing. We might need to occasionally fill in some place values. Not every time, but some of the time. So let's try an example and see how this works. Let's say we have 5.73 plus 16.24. All right, we follow our rules. First thing we want to do, stack up our numbers. And we stack them up by making sure our decimal points are stacked right on top of each other. Filling in our numbers as we go. 5, 7, 3, 16, 24, add. And do I have any place values that are uneven here? Yes, so right here I'm going to put in a 0 just so I can make sure I get into the habit of filling in all my place values. Now, I'm going to drop my decimal down, leave it there, and just do all my math. 3 plus 4, 7. 7 plus 2, 9. 5 plus 6, 11. 1 plus 1, 2. This gives me a grand total of 21.97. Adding these two values up gets me 21.97. All right. What if I had something like, so I'll just leave this here. We'll just do some erasing today as we go. What if I had something like 64 plus 8.397. There we go. So I want to stack my numbers. 60. Well, wait a second, because I need to line my decimals up. But 64 doesn't have a decimal point. What do I do when a number doesn't have a decimal point? What can I do here? Well, I can know that when my number doesn't have a decimal point, it actually does. Any number that doesn't have a decimal point has a decimal point at the end of that number. If there is no decimal point, there's a decimal point at the end. So that can be the point I use to stack my numbers up. Then I'll come down here, do my 8.397, then fill in some place values with zeros. These zeros don't actually change anything about my number as long as I'm putting my decimal points in. These zeros don't change anything about my number, which is nice. Then I add up. 0 plus 7 is 7, 0 plus 9 is 9, 0 plus 3 is 3, 4 plus 8 is 12, carry the 1, 1 plus 6 is 7. Bring my decimal straight down, I get a grand total of 72.397. Isn't that nice? That seems nice to me. I like that. All right, no decimal means I'm going to add a decimal at the end of my number. Now, what if you said to yourself, what happens if I involve, because I get this so well, so what happens if I involve a negative number with my math? Well, that would be a great question to ask yourself, and let's add that in and see what we get. Let's do negative 5.62 plus negative 12.9. All right, this goes back to last chapter when we talked about our integer rules. We talked about how to solve addition and subtraction with integers. Who remembers how to solve addition and subtraction when both numbers are negative? Well, they both have the same sign. Oh, no. They both have the same sign. And the same sign equals addition. So when we have the same sign, we're just going to add those two numbers up and keep the value negative. So I'm going to stack 5.62 plus 12.90. I know my answer is going to be negative because both of these are negative. 2 plus 0 is 2. 6 plus 9 is 15. Carry the 1. Add my decimal. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. And a 1, and I get a grand total of negative 18.52. All right. That is same sign. I add my values. If I have different signs, how do I solve for different signs? One positive, one negative. I subtract. I subtract with my different signs. Add with my same signs. Subtract with my different signs. All right. Let's do some subtraction here. Let's say I've got 7.89 minus 5.91. All right, let's stack them and do our math. Making sure to line up our decimal points. Bring this decimal point down and let's do our math. 9 minus 1, 8. 8 minus 9, can't do it. So I borrow. 18 minus 9 is 9. 6 minus 5 is 1. I get a grand total of 1.98. Not spending a ton of time on reminding how to borrow and how to carry when we're adding and subtracting. Hopefully that's something you remember, because you're going to need that when you are stacking your problems. All right. That is kind of my lesson. You got to make sure you follow with our rules here. Stack our math, line up our decimal points, fill in our place values with 0 if we need to. Then when we get to integers, same sign will add, different signs will subtract. Go ahead and solve this one for me. As we're getting ready to go, we'll say 4.2 plus 2.3 minus 0.7. Go ahead and solve this. If you need a little hint, remember order of operations. Solve this part first, then deal with the subtraction part once you're all done. I will see each and every one of you in class tomorrow. Have a great, great rest of your day. And good luck with this. Let me know if you have any questions, please.